Hey guys, Dustin here. Welcome to another episode of Horroritis, and this week I want to tell you why you should watch the movie Troll. Troll from 1986, starring Michael Moriarty, is one of those movies that I fondly remember watching when I was a kid, and even to this day it's still really fun to watch. So let's get into what it's about. The movie opens with the Potter family moving into their new apartment building. Harry, yes, Harry Potter, played by Michael Moriarty, decides to go and grab some burgers for the family. The mother, who's busy loading boxes into the new apartment, tells the son Harry Jr. to keep an eye on his younger sister, Wendy Ann. Now, Harry Jr., being a teenage boy, would rather be watching TV, so of course he lets her wander off on her own.
Keep an eye on your sister. Yeah, I'd rather watch Star Trek. Star Trek.
Wendy Ann, who looks similar to another blonde girl with a similar name from an earlier horror movie, finds herself in the laundry room of the apartment building. There, she's kidnapped by Torok, a troll who takes her form and wreaks havoc on the apartment building. So Wendy Ann, aka Torok, goes back to her family's apartment and begins eating with the family, and then she decides to freak out and run around and pull the fire alarm and basically rouse all the neighbors out of their apartments, and it's at this point that we meet our cast of characters. Like Sonny Bono, who apparently is a swinger in this movie.
See, I am a single, unattached guy, and I live upstairs right above you. Now, I'm into swinging, and children having pillow fights at all hours of the night while I'm trying to score may cause a few strikeouts. You get me, Harry boy?
Because that's realistic.
Shit!
Barry, an ex-Marine who thinks books are owned and operated by liberal scum.
You take these off? Oh, yeah. Fire!
Jeanette, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus. This was actually her first movie. And Eunice, played by June Lockhart, who you might know from Lost in Space and Lassie. We also meet Malcolm, played by Phil Fondacaro. Phil Fondacaro is probably the most well-known little person in the movie industry outside of Warwick Davis.
Are you an elf?
No, I just resemble one.
He also plays the troll in this movie because that just makes sense. So once we've met all the players, Torok begins to take them out one by one in order to fulfill his evil plan. So what is his evil plan? World domination, of course. Well, actually, he wants to recreate his own world and, still rule it. And the way he does this is with his magical troll ring, which has a tiny little needle inside, and he basically runs around sticking people with the needle, and once he does, they turn into big green pods, which burst open and an entire fairy world springs forth. I know, right? Also, this Ron Jeremy kind of thing. So, once every apartment is its own fairy world populated by Gary Busey trolls, it's up to Harry Jr. to save the world and his sister. Eunice, who turns out to be a witch sent there to stop Torok, tries to save everyone but gets turned into a tree stump.
All right, kiddo, it's up to you now. Don't blow it.
Apparently, getting younger when you let your hair down is a really shitty power.
I hope so.
So before I cover the ending and tell you about my favorite part of this movie, let me go over some stuff that actually kind of irked me a little bit. Just a couple things that didn't feel organic, I suppose. Like, Harry Jr. meets Eunice, and her apartment suddenly becomes his safe space because he realizes that there's something very seriously wrong with his sister. Now, the way that this happens is he knocks on her door, and then just asks to come in, and suddenly he's welcome there anytime. He comes in and just starts spilling his guts about the stuff he's afraid of. You know, like, you just go around telling this stuff to strangers. Hey, I think my sister's a monster. Random stranger person.
Have you seen my sister?
No.
Oh, good. Can I come in? I think I'm gonna throw up.
Well, how can I resist an offer like that?
Once she hears his worries, she actually tells him who Turok is and what's actually happening. Now, the story behind this is that Turok was, well, he was human, but he got turned into a troll because he was a major asshole. And he wants to recreate his kingdom again, and the only way to do this is to start turning people into pods beginning on a very special day, which, you know, just happened to be the day that the Potters moved into their new apartment. And, you know, he was already out and looking for people, but why one small apartment building? I mean, if you really needed people, why wouldn't you go somewhere crowded? Or, you know, if it was me and you really wanted to set up something like this in a place where, you know, you could have people confined and, you know, you would basically run the place, go to a prison, start turning inmates into these pods. I mean, they're basically in cages, they can't get away. You could have the entire prison and nobody would be any wiser. But no, he picks an apartment building with like 10 people living in it. But apparently 10 people is enough, so, I mean, I guess it works. Okay, so now that I got that stuff out of the way, here's the things that I like about this movie. First one, the little mushroom dude. I know he's just a little puppet type thing, probably with some dude's hand up there moving it around, but still, it's really cool, and I've always really liked that thing ever since I was a kid, so don't judge me. Second, the trolls singing. We used to sit around when we were kids and watch this movie and try to figure out what they were saying. I'm still not entirely sure, but I'm almost positive that they're singing about tampons, at least part of the time. I've already covered the swinging Sonny Bono, which is just preposterous. I mean, do you know who Sonny Bono was?
Shit!
But one of my favorite parts about this movie has to be Michael Moriarty dancing to a punk cover of Summertime Blues. This scene alone is just a testament of how funny this man can be, and you don't ever think it to look at him. He's like 6'4", and he looks like a straight-laced dude, like a tightwad, you know, like not gonna be funny at all. And then he just, well, he does this.
Well, my mama, papa told my son, you got to make some money.
So the best thing about this movie, in my opinion, is the ending, because it doesn't play out the way you expect it to. It's not the good guys stopping the bad guys. It's not the bad guy winning either. The way it works is, for whatever reason, Turok connected his entire plan into one monster. This one monster that protects the whole deal. And the only way to kill him is to stab him in the heart with this magical golden spear. So when Harry Jr. ventures into this fairyland to rescue his sister, who, by the way, Turok was saving to become the fairy princess after he had conquered the world. So when he gets in there to save his sister, they're attacked by the monster, and once Harry Jr. is thrown out of the way, the monster tries to attack the sister. And Turok, who doesn't want her to die, ends up killing his own monster, therefore destroying his entire plan, all in order to save the little girl. How often do you see that happen? I'm gonna guess like almost never. So that's why this movie, to me, has probably one of the best endings as far as, you know, good guys versus bad guys. So that's why I like this movie. It doesn't have the greatest effects, but for what they were going for, they did a damn good job, and the story was damn good also. But of course, anything compared to the sequel, Troll 2, would look fantastic, and I promise you we'll be getting to that movie soon enough. So that's it for this video. If you haven't seen this movie, go see it now. If you have seen the movie, go see it again, because it never gets old. If you like this video, give me that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. As always, I'm Dustin, this was Horroritis, and until next time, don't look behind you when you're walking up the stairs in the dark.
Shit!